Howdy folks, I'm Frigid Frost, frostily freezing out fancy furs.
I'm Amber.
And here are more fancy furs for us to freeze out, because why not? It's wintertime. Let's get started.
And these are fir trees we're freezing out.
They are very cold, fir trees. That's why they have to wear such a warm coat. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Watering My Wife's Plants? I am a 42-year-old male, and my wife is a 41-year-old female, and we have been married for 3 years. My wife has many good qualities, but she is quite disorganized and more than a little lazy. She loves gardening, but I think it's more that she likes the idea of gardening because she's terrible at it. She is the Saddam Hussein of plants. She not only has a poor idea of how to garden, what plants need, what kind of care they need, etc., but mostly because she's so lazy her plants die from neglect. The amount of care needed to keep her plants alive is probably no more than 5 to 10 minutes a day, but she can't even manage that. Her position is that it makes her happy, and it doesn't really affect me, so what do I care? And my position is that it's slightly psychotic to claim to love plants, but then not to put even a modest amount of effort into keeping the plants alive. It doesn't make any sense to me. Our compromise on this is that we just agree to disagree. I turn a blind eye to her wanton plant torture and murder so long as I don't have to participate, and she goes on happily throttling Mother Nature to death in our backyard. Our problem is that my wife is going on vacation for 3 weeks and now wants me to water her plants. I can do this very easily, so could anyone, but I have a moral objection. I don't want to be involved in her cottage industry of death. To me, I'll be participating in keeping these tortured souls alive, maybe even giving them hope for a better life, only to have it dashed when she returns in 3 weeks to resume her reign of terror. My wife is claiming that I'm being dramatic. I am, but I don't think that I'm wrong. So we've decided to ask Reddit, and we'll abide by the crowd's decision. Am I the jerk for not wanting to water her plants? Edit. Okay, wow, this ended up getting way more polarizing than I thought it would. The consensus seems to be that I would be the jerk, or that I already am, and never loved my wife, and I deserve to die alone. So I will definitely look after the plants. I am hoping that, like any good children's movie, I can grow from being a grumpy curmudgeon to having a heart-warming relationship with a row of cherry tomatoes. My wife, who has read through your replies, notes that she is mortified at being outed as a registered plant abuser, and will certainly try to do better. I myself have learned not to criticize her online because, just as in real life, people like her a lot more than they like me, which is why she has been cackling about this for the last hour. Thanks, everyone. All right, folks, what do you think?
I think, yeah, OP would be the jerk if he didn't water the plants. He's being a little over dramatic here, I feel. I think his wife is absolutely spot on this. It would not take him a lot of effort to water the plants, as he said, and his wife is physically not going to be there to water the plants.
Yeah, OP is clearly being hyperbolic in this post here. And I think it's a great comedic effect. I don't think that this is like a problematic thing. I think that he is approaching it with a lot of levity. And I think that's a good thing. Like when you're in a relationship, sometimes it can be fun to make light of a situation, right? Now, I do want to say that if his wife wasn't okay with a post like this or something like that, then that might be a little bit different, but it sounds like they both enjoyed it and are both laughing about it. So that's really the important thing about any joke is like, if everyone's not laughing, then it's not a joke, right? So for his hyperbole, I don't think that he's a jerk here, but I do think that maybe it would be a nice gesture to water his wife's plants.
Yes, and I'm glad that in the edit it sounds like he's come around and is going to water them. Now, I do wonder if the wife maybe has ADHD or some other form of neurodivergence. He keeps going on about her being lazy. But, with people, when people have executive dysfunction, that can make it hard to do things that seem simple to neurotypical people.
Yeah, certainly if she hasn't been evaluated for something and it is causing other problems in her life, then it might be worth looking into. But if it's just this one small, narrow area in her life where it's impacting this hobby, then it doesn't really sound like it would be a big enough thing for her to really worry about, I think. So, That's just kind of my view on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just kind of taking issue with him calling it laziness. Like, it may not actually be laziness. Um, and it can be hard to tell the difference.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Anxious Marketing 525 says, info, why are you married to someone you appear to dislike? Married people who want to stay married do small, nice things for each other. And OP replies, I'm traumatized from all the wilted peonies. And then OP is replying to a deleted comment. Me, my wife and I have a small disagreement on a minor domestic issue. Reddit, divorce her immediately. Me, I guess I could water the plants. Reddit, divorce is the only correct answer. I mean, sometimes Reddit does jump to divorce.
I mean, I'm usually on the divorce train, but not with this one.
And Bugglade5248 says, do her a favor and install some irrigation while she's away. You could literally make her so happy and have a productive garden. I mean, that's what I would do if I loved my wife. I wouldn't make her feel worse about the things that she loves. And Isvera says, I got into gardening last year despite my ADHD, and my plan for the spring is to install an irrigation because it's the only way my plants and I can both be happy. Plant murder. Speaking of plant murder, our poor plants need be watered later today.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder.
Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for suggesting that my partner uses a mini fridge for breast milk instead of storing it in our main fridge? Jumping in, my partner and I have been discussing a topic of having kids and whether we want them, and the topic of feeding came up, and I suggested using formula. However, my partner mentioned that formula can be expensive and said that she could pump breast milk and store the bottles inside of the fridge instead. I told her that I wasn't comfortable with the idea of storing breast milk in the fridge next to our food. I feel like it's unhygienic, and I don't want to open the fridge and see the bottles of that on the shelf. Instead, I suggested that we could buy a separate mini fridge specifically for her and the baby to store the milk. She wasn't happy with this idea and said that it felt like I was unnecessarily creating a barrier. I don't think that I'm being unreasonable, but I want to know, am I in the wrong for suggesting this kind of solution? Edit, unhygienic was probably the wrong word. I understand that the milk itself isn't unhygienic, but being stored with the rest of the food would be. I personally don't want to open the fridge and see the bottles or bags of it, and I think that it would be off-putting. I'm fine with the nappies and the baby vomit, but it's just the idea of my partner's bodily fluids being stored next to our milk and eggs that freaks me out. I would happily feed our baby formula, but my partner would like to try breastfeeding first and then pump, so that when it comes to night feeds or giving her breasts a break, I can help out. All right, folks, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think OP is being a bit of a jerk here and probably should work on this before they really get serious about having kids. Because breast milk is food. It's food for the infant. It is like literally food. I understand it's also a bodily fluid, but there is nothing unhygienic about storing it in the fridge with other foods.
Well, I mean, he's acting like it's radioactive,
Mm-hmm.
like it's going to like somehow contaminate all the other food in the refrigerator. And I just want to clarify that breast milk is not radioactive generally,
Yeah.
and will not somehow miraculously contaminate your food.
I mean, if the wife were to eat a bunch of, uranium or something like that, then the breast milk could become radioactive, but it would be the uranium in the breast milk that would be.
Yeah, but she would also probably not live long enough to
Well, that's that
pump
too.
at that
Yeah.
point in time. So I think that there might be a good reason to actually store the breast milk in a different refrigerator, just because sometimes food smells and stuff like that can seep into other things. So if the OP doesn't want their baby having weird food smells or stuff like that, like onions can be pretty potent, then it might be a good idea to store it in a different refrigerator. But I don't think that his aversion here is reasonable. I mean, I think it's just pointless to buy a mini fridge specifically for this because of his aversion. But I mean, everyone's going to have their different types of aversions, and this feels like a really minor and small thing. What I'm kind of concerned about is that he'll make the excuse of when the baby gets here of like, oh, your breast milk is gross. I don't want to touch it. I think that it's unsanitary or something like that.
Well, that's why I think he really needs to work on this before they get serious about having kids, because that's my concern too, is that he's like, oh, well, I just don't want, it sounds like he doesn't want to look at it, period. I don't want to see it next to the food. I don't want to see it. And like part of the wife's thing is she wants to be able to pump so he can help with night feedings. And is OP really going to be down for that? Or is he going to be like, ew, bodily fluids?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of bodily fluids that are going to be involved in having a baby and raising a baby. And I know he says he's okay with that, but if he hasn't actually dealt with those fluids before, he may not be as okay with it as he says.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing that kind of makes me scratch my head here, right, is like there's eggs in the refrigerator. There's milk in the refrigerator, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So,
where does he think that dairy milk comes from?
yeah. Where does he think eggs come from? I mean, like, that's not really a pleasant process here, right? And I mean, along with the whole milk as well. So I think that he really just kind of needs to understand that this isn't any different from those other types of things.
It's human bodily fluids versus cow bodily fluids.
Yeah. And I mean, if they eat meat, then I mean, how is that even any better too, right? Like, because like that's a whole nother level of like things. Oh, organs and other things.
Yeah, I mean, if he has no problem storing cow milk in the fridge, then like human milk shouldn't be any different.
Yeah. It just seems a little weird to me. But everyone's going to have their own aversions and stuff like that. And so hopefully they can, work together and come up with a reasonable way to tackle this problem. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Old Advice 5685 says, you're the jerk, and saying that you don't want bodily fluids stored next to milk and eggs is either a poor attempt at a troll or intensely foolish thing to say. Hopefully you're just a clueless teen and have time to learn about the real world. And OP replies, unfortunately I'm not a teen, but this post has opened some good dialogue between me and my partner. It's definitely a me with the ick that I can't quite get over yet. I mean, I did think that was very peculiar.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, people are so removed from where their food comes from.
Right, which isn't necessarily a good thing.
And that's really where some of this comes from, I think, is that we don't really view the food a lot of times as coming from an animal, as coming from nature itself. It just appears in a grocery store for us to take and consume. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not taking my wife's call during a dinner with a coworker? I'm a 35-year-old male, and I was out of town on a business trip, and I met my coworker, a 55-year-old male, for dinner at a hotel restaurant. I spoke with my wife while I was up in the room, and I told her that I was going to go down and eat. I went down and I met my coworker and sat down at a table, and we ordered our foods and drink. About 20 minutes or so later, my wife calls me. I deny the call with a text saying that I was eating and asked if I could call her back later. She then calls me again. I tell my coworker that I need to take the call, and I answer the phone at the table. I can tell that she's very angry, and then she proceeds to tell me that I left a glass of water on the dresser. This is not a common occurrence, and she has reprimanded me for it before, and that I left a watermark, and that she would have to be buying all new bedroom furniture. I now realize that this is not an emergency, and I realize that she's mad at me. I don't want to make a scene, so I respond by saying, okay, that sounds good, goodbye. And then I hang up the phone. She then proceeds to call me 18 times in a row and text me, answer the phone now. I don't answer any of the calls, nor do I respond to the text. I finish my dinner and I go back up to the room. From the time that I left my room to the time that I got back into my hotel room was about an hour and 20 minutes. I called her when I got back into the room, and she was angry with me because I didn't take her calls. I told her that she knew I was going to go and eat, and that I was not going to have those types of conversations in front of my coworkers. And I did not think that it was necessary for me to step away, but that I could talk later. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. This was not a pressing emergency. The wife knew where OP was, what he was doing, and it seems like she just wanted to cause drama for one reason or another. Leaving a watermark on the, nightstand, while that might be annoying, is not have a blow up fight with my husband in front of a coworker type of situation.
Yeah, I think this is a little peculiar. I mean, especially like one, the financial if every single time they have to buy a whole new bedroom furniture sets because there's a watermark on the
Well, yeah, I mean,
nightstand, I mean, they're doing really well for themselves,
yeah,
right? Um, I think that her demands here are unreasonable. Like
I agree. Yeah.
you can go an hour and a half without talking to your partner if they're in a business meeting or in a, business dinner or any number of things here, right?
Yeah, well, and again, like the thing about I have to buy a whole new set, it really seems like she was just trying to push his buttons and
Yeah.
stir up drama for some reason. I'm wondering if this is some kind of sabotage or something.
Yeah, it's clear that she's not happy about something. Either she's looking for attention because she's alone right now and she feels like she needs something to feed off of, or she has other troubles. I mean, I don't really know what to say on that though.
Yeah, well, it could be like a control thing or something.
Yeah, maybe she feels like she needs to have control over him and his location and stuff like that. I don't know. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And South Parfait 5405 says, calling you 18 times in a row during a work dinner is kind of scary. Has she always been this controlling? Either she's in a mental health crisis or she might be emotionally abusing you. A ring on a dresser doesn't even warrant a phone call in my relationship. Maybe an annoyed comment the next time we talk, but it would be unhinged to yell at my partner over an innocent mistake. Edit, not the jerk. And Nymph the Scribe says, it also doesn't warrant all new bedroom furniture. She's clearly trying to get a reaction out of him for some reason. Yeah, I really don't know what the deal with this is. I really wish OP had responded to some of the comments because I'm very curious about the state of this. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why did the two fours not want to eat lunch in the cafeteria?
Because 6, 8.
Because they already ate.
Oh, because they already ate? Okay. I was trying to. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense more. Like, I was thinking like 2, 4, 6, 8. But yeah, I mean, I guess 4 and 4 also equals 8. So that makes sense. That makes sense. See, just some weird reasoning in Brian's head here. And I have Earl Grey. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Terrific Tuesday, folks. I hope your Tuesday is off to a terrific start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on watering plants.
It's a good idea to water your plants, but if your partner struggles and you don't, maybe give them a helping hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good moral. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Mine would have been, sometimes all you need to do to show your partner that you care is to water their plants for them.
That's a nice one. I was thinking so hard and I couldn't come. I was trying to think of something clever. I am not the guy in that post.